Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Some great news. I have changed my name to Nikki Nightmare. It's something a little more me and a little more related to what I like to do. We're going to get into a video today. I don't know about you guys, but I love Christmas. It is my second favorite holiday of the year, but I don't like Christmas movies. I'm not a fan of the, oh, everything's so great and joyful and Merry Christmas and peace to the world. Like, totally love peace and, peace to everybody in the world and all that. But I don't watch Christmas movies at Christmas time. What I do watch is Christmas horror movies. So today we're doing a video that is going to tell you my top 5 favorite Christmas horror movies. Before we get into it, please make sure you're hitting that like and that subscription button if you like my content. I do post new videos about every 2 weeks. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into my top 5 favorite Christmas horror movies. See you there. Santa's Slip. If you like B-cast and cheesy comedy jokes, funny puns, this is the movie for you. This isn't so much as a horror movie, although it can be slated as a horror movie as there's a lot of death and mayhem in this movie, but it's more of a dark comedy horror movie, I guess is how I would classify this movie. Like I said, really great movie if you're into this kind of thing. It is definitely one of my favorite movies. You've got Fran Drescher, Tommy Tiny Lister, amazing actor. He is so funny, and he plays a very small cameo in this movie. You also have Rebecca Gayheart. They get killed off right in the beginning of the movie. Pretty much all of them except for Tiny Tim Lister. He does not. He lives throughout the movie, I guess. I don't really know what happens to him. This movie was released just in time for Christmas, December 20th of 2015. It was directed by David Steinman, and your main characters in this movie are Douglas Smith, which he's been in a few smaller movies, things that I'm not sure if you've heard of them, but I know I haven't heard of them. So not a big actor by any means as far as I know. You have Emily DeRaven. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but she's been in some really good movies. She's been in BC's Lost, The Hills Have Eyes, and Roswell. So those are your two main characters throughout the movie. Douglas Smith plays Nicholas, and Emily DeRaven plays Mary Mack. And then you have a third who's kind of a main character, but not really. He plays Grandpa. His name is Robert Culp. The most important person, the guy who plays Santa, Bill Goldberg, who absolutely did an amazing job in this role, and actually his acting was pretty good. So this movie is basically about Santa Claus originally was an evil demon. An angel decides one day he wants to do a contest with Santa. The winner of this contest will basically make the rules. So the angel wins. The deal is that Santa has to be good. He has to give presents and gifts and joy to all the children around the world for 1,000 years. And so when the 1,000 years is up, hence when this movie takes place, he is back to being evil, and he is now chasing down the angel because the angel gave up his immortality because he fell in love with a human. Santa goes after him and his family. The movie starts out with a really funny scene, a bunch of family members having Christmas dinner. They're all having this Christmas dinner, which is typical, and they're all fighting and they're bickering over money. Santa comes down the chimney, kills them in amazing, brutalized Christmas fashion. He even burns off Fran Drescher's hair and drowns her in a bowl of punch. So definitely a good intro to the movie. Throughout the movie, grandfather tells the grandson, Nicholas, the story. They start seeing deaths everywhere. Santa goes to the local strip club called Gold Diggers. He actually takes a stripper pole, but before he takes that stripper pole, he has to spray it with sanitizer and clean it before he takes that stripper pole and murders a couple people. One of them he electrocutes somehow through the stripper pole, and it electrocutes the guy. Really good scene. He then goes on to tell the strippers that they were all on the naughty list and then burns down the strip club. He goes to the deli where Nicholas works and kills the owner of the deli with his own menorah. He also goes to the police station, kills the entire police department, and then kills the police chief by electrocuting his testicles. I'm not going to tell you how the movie ends, but let's just say it is a very interesting ending, and you really get to see some great acting from Bill Goldberg, especially. There's a few things that they could have done a little bit better on, but overall, definitely, I would give this movie a 6 out of 10. Silent Night, Deadly Night 1. This movie was released November of 1984. It was directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr., and it stars a cast of Lillian Chauvin, Gilmer McCormick, and Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson plays the lead actor, Billy, and he is the one who is the villain in the movie. So this movie basically starts off with a young child, Billy, going to visit his ill grandfather in a mental hospital. His grandfather scares him and tells him that Santa Claus punishes bad children and gives good children good things like gifts. This scares Billy, and now Billy wants nothing to do with Santa Claus at this point.
Santa Claus only brings presents to them that's been good all year. All the naughty ones, he punishes.
On their drive home from the hospital, Billy and his mother and father are stopped by a gentleman dressed up as Santa Claus with a broken down car. Little do they know that this Santa Claus just murdered a gas station attendant and is now planning on doing some not so nice deeds to them. This criminal shoots Billy's father, kills him dead. Billy hops out of the car and runs into the woods and witnesses this whole incident. From there, the criminal pulls Billy's mother out of the car and attempts to rape her, and then when he is unsuccessful, he slits her throat and kills her. They don't ever say what happened to this criminal, so we don't know. A few years later, it shows Billy placed in an orphanage, suffering through ridiculous amounts of abuse at this orphanage. He now has PTSD from witnessing the murder of his parents. They then move on to Billy being an adult at 18 and trying to move on with his life. Billy is given a job at the local convenience store. He gets a crush on his coworker, Pamela. He has sexual fantasies of Pamela, but they're also intertwined with visions of his parents being murdered, which is really twisted in its own way. The store forces Billy to dress up as Santa, and this starts triggering off some of his PTSD. He starts getting these visions, again, of his parents being murdered by a man dressed up as Santa Claus. It gets even further triggered when Billy notices Pamela going into the back with another male coworker. Billy follows them and sees this male coworker attempting to rape Pamela. This completely sets him off the deep end, and he kills the male coworker by strangling him with a set of Christmas lights. At this point, I don't think his brain is very rational, so he ends up killing his crush Pamela by stabbing her. Before he makes a kill, he always says the word punish. He has to punish those who have been naughty. From there, he continues on his killing spree. He kills the drunken store manager and another coworker at the store. He moves on from the store, heading to the orphanage. On his way, he stops at a house that there's either like a babysitter, or I don't know if it's a daughter who lives there, but there's a girl there with her boyfriend. They are making love. It gets interrupted by a noise of some sort. The girl goes to check it out while the man stays back, which is not typical, but anyways, Billy ends up impaling her with a pair of antlers. And then he goes on to kill her boyfriend by throwing him out the window. Punish! Billy then goes on and witnesses some bullies in the woods bullying a couple kids and stealing their sleds. When these bullies decide they're going to take these sleds and go sledding, Billy jumps out of the woods and impales one of them with an axe on his way down. At the very end scene of this, you get to see the guy coming down the hill beheaded, and then his head kind of rolls down the hill after, and his friend freaks out. Oh, God! Oh, God! awesome, awesome scene. Billy moves on to go back to the orphanage where he is got his sights set on a mother superior who raised him at the orphanage. I'm not going to tell you what goes on from there. You'd have to watch the movie for yourself, but it's definitely an amazing Christmas movie. It has the perfect Christmas atmosphere. I don't know if any of you feel the same way as me, but dark, snowy, dead quiet Christmas. Like, that to me is the ultimate creepiness. And this movie sets that tone amazingly. It has great actors in it. The acting's actually really good for being released in 1984. The special effects are pretty good for being released in 1984. Definitely has a good creepy factor. Not very bloody and gory, as 1980s weren't super gory and bloody yet. This movie, definitely an 8 out of 10. Definitely a movie you should check out. You can stream it now. It is streaming on Tubi, but it is an excellent movie. Definitely worth watching. For me, I sit down and I have Christmas horror movie marathons on Christmas Eve. We watch all the horror movies, and that's what I plan to do again this year. Black Christmas. All right, guys. So my number 3 pick is Black Christmas in 2006. Now, there was an original Black Christmas made in 1974. This is the remake that was done in 2006. Black Christmas was released on December 15th of 2006. It was directed by Glenn Morgan and produced by one of the best producers we know, James Wong. James Wong, as you know, has produced several other great films and TV shows, to include American Horror Story, The Others, amazing movie by the way, not Christmas related, but great ghost movie, and Final Destination 1 and 3. This movie has several starring actresses, and they are all pretty decently known and in some pretty mainstream movies. So our main character, Katie Cassidy, her character's name in this movie is Kelly. She is the main character. She's starred in other movies such as When a Stranger Calls, and the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Then you've got Michelle Tichenberg. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name right, but if you are a huge fan of this show series, you will definitely know who she is. She plays Dawn Summers in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Her character is Melissa in this movie. Then you've got Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Her character is Heather in this movie, and she's played in other movies such as Wolf Lake and Final Destination 3. Oliver Hudson. He's a small actor, but in this movie he plays the character Kyle, who is the main character's boyfriend. Lacey Chabert, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. I think it's Chaber. She was best known for her role, amazing movie in Mean Girls. One of my favorite movies, not horror related. Then we have Kristen Cloak. She played in Final Destination. Then we have Andrea Martin. She was in the original Black Christmas in 1974. She played the sorority sister Phyllis. So that was really cool that they brought her back. She plays in this movie the sorority mom or the den mom. Her name is Barbara, or they call her Miss Mac. Then we have an actress, I am going to butcher her name, but I tried to look up the pronunciation, but it's Yankee Crystal, I think. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but she's best known for her role in Final Destination 3 as the ditzy, popular girl who dies in the tanning bed. Listening to Roller Coaster of Love. So she's in this movie as a sorority sister as well. And then we have Jessica Harmon, Kristen Cloak. She is not a sorority sister, but she is a legacy sister. So now that we've talked about the cast and the producers and directors, which is really, really great, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about the movie. The character Billy Lenz, he is the villain in this movie. When he was born with jaundice. And his mother and father You know, his father kind of swooned over him, but his mother hated him. Throughout this movie, there's a ton of flashbacks that bring you back to Billy's childhood so that you can see kind of what happens. And they do show that Billy's mother has a lover, and her lover and her conspire and actually commit murder by killing Billy's father. Billy witnesses this. And then gets locked in the attic by his mother and her lover. Throughout this movie, you see, like I said, a bunch of flashbacks where they also go back and show you that Billy's mother, Constance, gets kind of fed up with her lover. I guess he can't, he can't perform. So she, in the middle of having sex with her lover, decides when he passes out and can't perform that she's gonna go up into the attic and do some nasty shit with her son. And this nasty ass shit results in a baby. This baby's name is Agnes. Now, going through the years, you can see that Agnes is swooned over by her mom and her lover. Billy's just left to kind of rot and they don't really care about him. So Billy finally gets pissed off one day and says, screw this, and he beats the living shit out of Agnes and like rips out an eyeball. Then he proceeds to kill his mother's lover and his mother. He kills his mother, he bludgeons her to death with a rolling pin, and then takes a Christmas cookie cutter and cuts her skin out and bakes that skin in the oven and proceeds to eat her Christmas cookies.
Billy was declared insane.
Really nasty, but really awesome. The police come, they get him, they stick him in a mental hospital. So that's pretty much the flashbacks all put together. Now, throughout the movie, they bounce between these flashbacks, okay? So then you skip over to the mental hospital where Billy is being kept, where he tricks the security guard to thinking he escaped, and then he stabs the security guard with a candy cane in the jugular and escapes. So then you kind of skip over to this sorority, Delta Alpha Kappa.
Old Mr. Kringle is soon gonna jingle the bells that'll tingle all your troubles away.
Throughout the night, you know, each sorority sister just gets freaking killed. And Billy has this thing with like plastic bags and stabbing eyeballs and ripping eyeballs out. That's pretty much how he kills everybody. Puts a bag over their head and then either stabs them in the eyeball, stabs them in the neck, or stabs them in the head, and then rips out an eyeball or two. Okay? One of them gets a, what are those things called? You know those things you dig up the ground with? They're like 3 hooks and you dig the ground. Anyways, one of those ground diggy things. One of the girls gets that to the back of the head underneath the house. just a lot of death, pretty gory, with the eyeball ripping, and he eats an eyeball at one point. Everyone just comes to a horrible fate. And then the main character and the sister legacy character are pretty much the last two alive. I'm not going to get into that with you. Like I said, you need to watch the movie yourself to see where the end of the movie goes. But really excellent movie, great acting, definitely has the Christmas spirit behind it. All the Christmas lights and the Christmas music and the dark, scary winter snow, all that Christmas ambiance is there. And it is definitely just a great Christmas horror movie if you are into a slasher flick. I give this movie an 8 out of 10. This movie has a very When a Stranger Calls atmosphere. Beginning of the movie, they're getting calls from Billy, and he's actually inside the house making these calls, which is really, really creepy, and it brings you back to kind of that When a Stranger Calls vibes. Now, what I want to say about this movie is it was actually based off of a couple true stories / urban legends, which makes it even better. There was a real life murder of a babysitter. Her name was Janet Christman. Supposedly, and this is a real murder, you can look it up, supposedly she was babysitting and was getting these crazy calls in the house, and come to find out that the killer was inside the house. This case actually inspired another movie called When a Stranger Calls, which was made in 1979. They did make a sequel to that, and then they also made a remake of that. So excellent movie. Those are not Christmas movies, but if they're into the creepy stuff like that, definitely check those movies out. You could also stream this movie on Tubi as well. It is streaming right now. Now, if you watch Tubi, there are commercial breaks, so make sure that you know that. But excellent movie. Like I said, 8 out of 10, and that is why this movie is rated as my number 3 pick. Now, on to number 2. Krampus. Krampus is a Christmas horror comedy movie, and it was released in December 4th of 2015. It's directed by Michael Dougherty. He's also directed one of my favorite movies, is Trick or Treat. You can not stream this for free right now. It is not free for streaming, but you can find it on any streaming platform to rent anywhere from $1.99 to $3.99. Usually around this time of year, these types of horror movies are not for free. They try to get you, because they know there are people like me who watch these for Christmas instead of Christmas movies. Maybe there's something wrong with me, I don't know. But anyways, some of the cast, let's just talk about the main cast. We've got Adam Scott, who was in Piranha 3D and Hellraiser Bloodline. He plays the dad, Tom. Then you've got Toni Collette. I'm not sure if it's Colette or Coletti, but I think it's Colette. She plays the mom, Sarah, and she was in the movie Hereditary and The Sixth Sense. Then you've got David Koechner. He's a comedian. He's been in several comedies. He's the comedical part of this movie. Then you have MJ Anthony, who plays the main character, Max, and Stefani Lavi Owen, who plays the sister, Beth. Krista Stadler, she plays Omi. Let's just get into this movie now, okay? Max's family, it starts off, they're in the mall, and Max is in this Christmas pageant, and he gets into a fight in the middle of the pageant while they're playing It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas.
The prettiest sight to see is the holly that...
Awesome scene, very funny. And then he goes home, gets a lecture by his mom, and then we find out that Max's mother, Sarah, her family, who she can't stand, which a lot of us are in the same boat. We know this is the time of year, we've got family coming, we love them, but they're annoying. Her family, her sister, and her brother-in-law are coming to the house with their super annoying children who nobody likes, brats, spoiled, and just mean, nasty little kids. So they're all coming to the house for Christmas. They get to the house and everybody's annoyed. They have a Christmas dinner.
So where's the nog? I need to get Mary.
It's in the kitchen. Help yourself.
I'm
sorry.
Where one of the bratty cousins grabs Max's Christmas letter to Santa. Now, Max is a firm believer in Christmas still. I mean, he's pretty old, but he's still a firm believer in Santa and Christmas and all of that Christmas joy. And so she pulls out this letter he writes to Santa, and embarrasses the living hell out of him, and he gets upset and they get in a fight.
Stevie, stop. That's enough.
Wait, you're up first, Beth. I wish me and Beth could hang out like we used to. You might have noticed that I don't have tons of friends. Oh no, really, Max?
At this point, he basically says he hates Christmas and he hates everyone, and he runs up to his room and pulls out his letter to Santa, rips it up, and throws it out the window.
I hate Christmas! I hate all of you!
Little does Max know this is going to create hell for them. This is just the worst thing he could have done, and now they're all gonna be dead. They're all in for a miserable time. So he wakes up the next morning, there's a blizzard outside. It's engulfed the whole entire neighborhood. Max's sister Beth decides, oh gosh, I'm worried. I better go check on my boyfriend, because you know, it's so important to do when there's a blizzard outside. Let's just go out and check on him. But she does. She decides to leave, and she promised she's gonna be back in a timely manner. She leaves, she walks out there in the blizzard, goes to her boyfriend's house, and sees that the whole entire thing's like frozen. And then Krampus bursts up through the ceiling and jumps from that roof to another roof and scares the living shit out of Beth. So Beth runs and tries to hide and take shelter under a car. A Jack-in-the-Box pops up next to her and attacks her under the car. So at this point, we believe Beth is dead. Back at the home, Dad and brother-in-law decide, well, we're worried. Let's go out and look for Beth. Omi saying, no, don't go. Please don't go. It's dangerous. I want you to stay here. They push her off and say, look, we gotta go find Beth. So they take off, look for Beth, and guess what? They can't find her. She's missing, and there's signs of something really bad happening to Beth. So they go home, and Omi tells them the story about when she was a child, and she did not believe in Christmas or Santa or the holiday spirit or love. Due to that, Krampus comes down and kills her whole entire family and leaves her this little ornament to remind her of how selfish and nasty she was. So it's a very sad moment in the movie. You really feel bad for Omi. So this is where they first find out about Krampus. Now all hell breaks loose. So there's a little sack of toys that was delivered back to the house when the sun came up and all this stuff first started happening. And of course nobody knows where the sack came from, but they brought it anyways, thinking maybe it was gifts from somebody, you know? So they bring it in the house, and all of those toys actually come to life. They're Krampus's little demonic minions. They all come to life and start attacking everybody in the house. It's very demonic toys feeling. So they just start attacking everybody, biting people, stabbing people, like burning them with like fireballs. The little annoying, bratty, little weird looking cousin is the first to go. He gets sucked up through the chimney he decides he's gonna eat a Christmas cookie, a gingerbread, and the gingerbread comes to life, wraps a chain around him. He gets sucked up into the fireplace and dies. And then the rest of the family, they just continue to get attacked by these, you know, toys, stuffed animals, robots, cookies. They all actually survive except for all the bratty cousins. All the bratty cousins are the ones to go. This Jack-in-the-Box, giant Jack-in-the-Box guy eats one of the, he swallows her whole, one of the bratty cousins. After all this is said and done, the whole family, that's what's left of them, they all decide it's safer for us to go out. We need to get out of here and try to get some help. And they leave Omi behind because Omi decides that she wants to confront Krampus for what he did to her as a child. Krampus does eventually show up, coming through the chimney, and Krampus attacks her with his big bag of toys. The rest of the family gets outside. Things underneath the snow, meaning evil demonic little toys, start attacking them one by one and pulling them into the snow, and then they all pretty much die, leaving only Max and one of his bratty cousins alive to try to escape. and they end up at this big giant fire with Krampus and all of his little demonic toys, where his annoying cousin gets thrown into the hell fire pit. I'm not going to tell you where it goes from there. You have to watch the movie. You cannot get this movie for free right now, unfortunately, but you can rent it. Great movie, 8 out of 10. I like the whole demonic toys thing that they did with it. Really good movie. So that's why that is my number 2 pick. So now let's just move on to my number 1. Dead End. Dead End is a French psychological horror movie. I'm so excited to talk to you about it. A lot of people haven't seen this movie. They don't even know this movie exists. If you've seen it, please leave comments in the comment section and tell me what your opinions are on this horror movie. This horror movie was released November 9th of 2004. It is directed by Jean-Baptiste Andre. He is a French producer. Some of the main cast, we've got a big name in this movie. It is really, really great that she's actually in this movie. I'm a huge fan of hers. She plays the mother, Laura, and her name is Lynn Shay. She's been in all of the Insidious movies, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and also in the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. She was also in Ouija and The Grudge. The dad, played by Frank Wise. He's played in movies like Twin Peaks. Then you've got Mick Cain. He plays Richard, the brother. Alexandria Holden. She's also a decent name in movies. She's been in Drop Dead Gorgeous, Hot Chicks, and Wishcraft. Then you've got Amber Smith. She plays the lady in white. She was on Dr. Drew for some addiction issues, but she also was in the movie American Beauty. Then you've got the boyfriend character, Brad. He is played by William Rosenfeld. Really great movie. It's very suspenseful. It keeps you very confused throughout the whole movie. So basically what this movie is about is this dysfunctional family is traveling on this road that seems to be never ending, on their way home from a Christmas family event. At this point, they're just driving. Dad decides he's going to take a different route instead of taking the interstate. He thinks it's a shortcut.
What happened to the interstate?
I thought we could take the back way for a change.
What's wrong with the interstate? We've taken it for years.
I was bored.
They run into this lady in white who they pick up. She's standing in the middle of the road. She's got a baby in her arms and she's got like a big gash across her forehead. So they think that something had happened to her. So they pick her up and they try to talk to her and she's just dead quiet. She doesn't speak. The baby doesn't make any noises. She's literally just sitting there.
What's your name? Where do you live?
And throughout this movie, things get a little bit stranger and stranger as it goes along. The boyfriend is sitting in the car with the woman in white. She says, she finally talks. She says, my baby's so cold. Why don't you hold him? And the guy holds the baby and he realized this baby's dead.
Breathe with all this blanket on her face.
Don't worry. She's dead.
Brad is missing. They see this black hearse drive by them really slow, and in the back of the hearse is Brad. And they're like, what the hell is going on? So they chase this black hearse and they run over this, they see this dead body in the street and they're like, what the hell? So they get out and come to find out it's Brad.
Stay back! Stay back! Don't come over here for God's sake.
Pretty gruesome parts. It's not super gross. They don't show any of the actual brutality. They leave it up to your interpretation, but they do show you the end overall of, whoever dies. Brad is dead. And the daughter, Marion, that's the daughter's name, she pretty much goes into shock. She just doesn't talk for a little while and just is like complete shock. They continue driving and the suspense and the uneasy feeling just keeps building and building and building.
Slow down. You are gonna kill us all.
They come across a baby carriage, which is super creepy, and that baby carriage is just sitting in the middle of the road. Nothing really happens with that, but then they keep on going, and again, some more suspense, and more driving. And you could tell that the mother and the father are extremely dysfunctional. They fight a lot. The dad's really nasty to the mom. He'll say like, do you have to suck on that bottle that way?
Laura, do you have to suck on it like that?
That's the way I drink.
All right, you guys, calm down.
So you can tell that they don't have a very good relationship, and they're obviously bicker over everything. Kind of sounds like me and my husband.
No.
So you can see this getting worse and worse and worse throughout the movie. The son decides he's going to go off and smoke a little weed. He goes off into the woods by himself, smokes this weed, and he runs into the woman in white. Now, the woman in white had disappeared, right? After Brad disappeared. At the same time as Brad, she disappeared as well. So she pops up in the woods and they start making out, right? He's like, oh yeah. And he's so high that she literally rips his lip off and he doesn't even feel it. They see the black hearse crossing again, very slow. And guess who's in the back? Oh, no. Richard's in the back. So they chase the car again. They hit something in the road. Come to find out it's Richard's dead body. The mom grovels over his body and cries, and then she goes crazy. She goes into shock herself, and now she's starting to act just like nutso, stuffing her face with pie, and it's all over her face, and stuffing chips in her mouth.
Is it Michael coming?
Michael? Who the hell is Michael?
It's Richard. But his real name is Michael, because that was what Alan wanted to call him.
Talking to dead people or seeing shit, like seeing people that aren't there. They stop on the side of the road. Laura decides she pulls out the shotgun that they actually had planned to give as a gift to a family member. And she pulls out the shotgun and kind of goes back and forth. A really suspenseful moment where you're not even sure what's going to happen. And she shoots Frank in the leg. They continue on driving some more.
Laura!
I'm just kidding.
Richard is dead.
Laura, still seeing her dead friend from 20 years ago, decides that she wants to go hang out with her dead friend. And the car's moving and she decides she's just going to open the car door and fall out of the car.
Could I go see Janine now?
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you...
I'm gonna go now.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Then they see the hearse come up to them, and Frank starts shooting at the hearse with the shotgun. Laura steps out of the car and waddles her way over to them. She's all damaged up, she just fell out of a car. She's all cut up and scraped up and hurt. They realize when they turn her around that the whole back of her head is missing. And she starts fiddling with the back of her head, rubbing her brain, and starts getting just extreme, orgasmic feelings going on. She falls to the ground and dies.
Oh, God!
Is there something wrong with my hair?
Oh, God.
Very weird part of the movie, but very good to say the least. Keep driving. They come across the same ranger station that they had passed earlier in the movie and realize basically they've just gone in a big circle. Frank is actually attacked again by the lady in white, and then when he comes back, he's just completely different, and he goes crazy on Marion and basically slaps the shit out of her and then punches her in the face. He sees the woman in white, or the lady in white, in the woods again, and he chases after her with the shotgun, only to disappear and not to be heard of again. Marion gets in the car and takes off after a little bit of struggle, keeps driving, and is left all alone at this point. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave the movie, because from there, the twist is phenomenal. You don't even guess it's coming when you've watched this movie. This is why I chose this as my #1 movie. Like I said, a lot of people haven't heard of this movie or seen this movie. It is very suspenseful. It's got the horror elements. It's got the Christmas time feel. I say this movie is a 9 out of 10. If you like suspense and you like to be kept on the edge of your seat, this movie is definitely for you. So now I want to talk about some honorable mentions. Gremlins, Frozen, Black Christmas in 1974. That was my top 5 Christmas horror movies. I hope you enjoyed my video. Like I said, most of these movies you can stream for free. I would say definitely check them out. If you love horror movies this time of year like I do, and you're gonna have a movie marathon on Christmas Eve, Try something different. Try watching these horror movies on Christmas Eve. They will definitely keep you entertained, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button before you head out. I do appreciate all of your time. Much love to all of you. Bye.